Hello, Assalamu alaikum, it's Farah here with some tips for Muslims on how to find a marriage partner. It may be you're looking for somebody for yourself. You may be a mom or a dad looking for your son or daughter. Maybe you're looking for a brother or sister or even a friend. Whoever you are, whoever you're looking for, I hope you find this video helpful. Now, when is the right time to start looking for a marriage partner? Well, let me tell you a little story. I knew somebody who used to work in the Muslim community, and he said he was coming across a lot of young ladies in their 30s who were very educated, had established their careers, and they were struggling to find somebody. Now, these young ladies started to look in their late 20s, so say about 27, 28, 29, and it takes a couple of years. So I would strongly suggest that, obviously it's your own personal choice, but you start looking maybe in your early 20s, because it can take a good few years to find someone. Where do you start looking? Yes, good question. It was jointly decided with me and my daughter that I would help her look, and having been so busy bringing up my family with the children and the family, I realised at that stage that we'd actually cut ourselves off from a lot of Muslim families. So we started networking again. We started to get in touch with families, make acquaintances again, and just generally meet up with people and see what was going on. I would also mention to close friends or relatives that I was actually looking for my daughter, so just in case if they knew someone or had somebody in mind. I also tried an online website. Now, I'm not going to mention the website because I'm not here to promote any website or recommend any website. I'm just sharing with you my experience in the hope that it's helpful to others out there. Now, with this particular website that I registered on, you could register and stay fairly anonymous. You didn't have to use your real name as your username, and you didn't have to upload a photo. You could upload a photo and keep it on private mode, so if somebody approached you and they liked their profile, then you had that choice as to whether you would allow them access to your photo or not. Now, the thing is with this website is I managed the account. I did not allow my daughter access to the site, mainly because I found I was getting a lot of messages from random men, and I really wasn't comfortable exposing her to that. Also, some friends told me about a WhatsApp group, and in this group it was mainly moms, mainly Pakistani families, mums who were posting their kids' profiles with a mobile number, and you could get in touch with anyone who you thought might be a potential suitor. There were two major problems that I found I was having. The first problem was with many profiles that you saw, there wasn't a photograph with them. And I know you can request a photograph, but it put me in a very difficult position where I received a photograph. The man, most of the case, he wasn't very attractive, and I was in a very difficult position of having to say no in a very kind way. The other problem I had was, my kids are third generation Asian. My parents came here in the 1960s, so I was born and brought up here. Most of the mums that I was speaking to were speaking English as a second language. So I found it very difficult to communicate with the mums. So what kind of young man or young lady are you looking for? Well, what I suggest you do is I suggest you write down a list of all the qualities that you would like to see in your potential husband or wife. For example, for me, it was important that the young man was God conscious. It was important that he was in a regular job, and he was a kind, sincere man, and it was also important that he was happy to live independently, because extended family living isn't for us. So those would kind of be some of my values, and those are things that you need to consider, what's important for you and what you would be looking for in a potential spouse. Having done your list, there will be certain core values that you might feel you cannot compromise on, and there might be others that maybe you can. Be prepared to make some compromises, because it's not very likely that you will find somebody who matches every single criteria, who can tick every one of those boxes. Now, when you're reading people's profiles, or you have some kind of communication with a family, just remember you will get clues about that person or that family from even the initial contact. For example, when I was reading some of the profiles, many of the families were talking about caste. Now, for me, I'm not very Pakistani minded at all. I don't believe in that kind of thing. I don't see it has any relevance. So just a family who specifically says, I want this certain family from another caste, or mentions caste, for me, it was very off-putting. I think it's also important to be aware that you cannot always tell what somebody looks like from a few photographs. So sometimes it's really helpful, if you can, to meet up with the person, see them face to face, preferably not on your own, with maybe family members. Prior to that, you might also want to do a telephone conversation to see how you gel, just to find out a bit more about the person. But nowadays you can even do a Skype chat. Now, some things to look out for, which I felt were red signals. Any young man, when they talk about their job, in the job description that says business, I wasn't happy about that at all. It's very vague. Anyone without a UK passport. Anyone who said something in their profile which was slightly misleading. For example, one of the profiles I was looking at, in the job description they said doctor, and when I actually looked at the degree this young man had said he had done, it was some sort of medical related science, but he wasn't really a doctor. If you're thinking, if you're considering a Muslim convert, it's important to ask yourself, or ask the person, how long they've been Muslim for, how they converted. My experience of the converted young boys who I came across, and I'm not saying this is all the converts, is they didn't come across to me as being that close to their faith, not as much as I would have expected a convert to be. And a lot of them or some of them did actually convert as a result of a previous relationship. And the other thing that you need to consider with converts is, as you know, in Islam it's recommended for boys to be circumcised. This is not always the case with someone who converted later on, and it may also be that they don't want to get it done. So that's something you need to consider if it's an issue for you. Even if you don't come across someone who's suitable for yourself or the person you're looking for, you may come across someone you think, oh, he would be suited for that particular person that I know. You know, by all means, pass the information on. It's nice if you can help someone in such a life-changing thing. Well, I mean, if that's it really, I hope you found it helpful. If there's any comments you'd like to make them in the comments box below. If you've got any questions, do ask. If I can't answer them, I'm sure somebody else will post who can, and hopefully it'll be helpful.